So one of the reasons we teamed up is you're so amazing. So
Well, I think the same thing of you, though. And I must say, I'm not the only one that said that you're amazing. So FYI.
we're going to focus now on why you're so amazing. So you just said some things, and I'm even sitting here listening. I should be taking notes anytime I listen to you.
Likewise.
So for those of you listening, take notes when Terri talks.
And him.
So I heard you say some things that I would love for you to break down some more. Because I heard you say when you buy a business from somebody else, I heard turnkey. Can you break some of those terminologies down for people like me who might not understand what does it look like to buy a business from somebody else? And then what does that look like? And then what does turnkey mean? So let's break some of those down because you're bringing up some great stuff.
So and in the industry of business brokerage, right, we have like real estate brokers and real estate agents who sell homes. I always, to try to simplify it, or probably oversimplify it, is to say, think of me if I were a realtor for a business in a very oversimplified way. So a lot of people don't realize that that's an option to entrepreneurship, because a lot of us think for me to own a business or label myself as the entrepreneur, I have to start from scratch. And I certainly am a proponent for, if you can skip a few steps and have an extra launch pad, do that. But I also understand that for some people, starting from scratch is a better option. So that really comes into weighing, again, what your financial abilities are, your financial viability, what your goals and objectives are. But if you are, let me break it down this way. Think about if we were to buy an investment property, right? We don't build a house from scratch. We might find a house that's pretty beat up, the roof may be falling in, but we call it character. Maybe it has great character and we just love the bones.
Right.
So what do? We invest our capital to fix it up. We might change the paint color, add some new fixtures, but we're not building it from the ground up. We're improving on what's already there. So the same thing when you're looking at buying a business. There's no such thing as a perfect business, but perhaps if you know you have strengths in a certain area, Marcus, you own a restaurant and you're looking to retire. Maybe I've always wanted to own a restaurant.
I love this.
Maybe I want to own a restaurant. So I love that, you know, you've been in business for 20 years. You've had employees that have been with you 5 years or more, everybody on staff.
Terri, put your phone on mute.
That was the computer. So this is how you know this is real, right? Because we've got phone calls coming in.
You're live. Terri got phone calls.
Oh my gosh, what is happening?
We want to apologize.
We do want to apologize. I have no idea what's happening. My computer just went on a break. Okay, we're back.
Terri is just like, you know, we promise you guys, we know what we're doing. We're professionals.
So look, so sidebar. I muted everything apparently except the computer. That's the downside of the iPhone. Everything's
high-tech people like you know, your computer talk.
At least techie. But anyway, back to what we were saying.
My computer don't have alerts.
I like that you've been in business for a long time. You've got great employees. Maybe I even, you know, like your menu. Maybe I love seafood. Maybe you're a seafood restaurant. And that's the menu that I want. Now, I might not like everything on your menu. I might really think that your prices are way too low. But again, if you've been in business 15 or 20 years, there's already some marketing data in place. You've already got a staff who knows the business in and out.
Right.
You've obviously got great customers who have allowed you to be in business for 15 or 20 years. So maybe I say to myself, well, instead of finding a space, a shell, and building it out, equipping it, trying to negotiate the lease, maybe I'll just buy the restaurant that Marcus has, assume his lease, right? Because I'm going to just assume the current term that you're already under.
Right.
I really want to keep your employees. Now, I might bring in one or two of my own to train them how I want them, but I really want to keep your employees. I definitely want to keep your customers. And honestly, I might really want to keep your name too. Now I can change it, but maybe I want to keep it too. So what I see is the potential for me to add my own flavor to what you already have and skip steps 1 through 5. So I come in the door hopefully making money because the customers are already there versus saying, okay, I spent 200 grand in equipment trying to build it out, deposits and everything like that. Now I've got to hire employees, try to figure out how to market and find a customer, and wait 6 months to start making money. So there can be real advantages to that. So when I say turnkey, that means all I've got to do is come in and literally turn the key and get to work tomorrow once we close.
No, I love it. This message has to be broadcasted out everywhere, because a lot of people do believe that they have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
You don't.
Right.
It's best to buy into the infrastructure.
That's right.
And if you have the capital, buy into multiple infrastructures.
Now that's true.
So that you have multiple streams of business income.
That's right. And so I have been talking about this book that I purchased last year called Buy Then Build. And the author's name is Walker Diebel, I believe. And he terms this acquisition entrepreneurship. And I just love that term because we hear about the venture capitalists,
right?
Hear about the startups, but we really don't hear as much about, I say again, the very lay way of saying it, flipping businesses. We flip houses, we use that term. But what if the whole concept of buy low, sell high works in businesses too, which it does?
Don't worry. We're gonna launch it. We're gonna start this conversation.
Yes.
Because we need to flip businesses, especially at a time like now. You said it earlier. Right now, a lot of people are exiting their business.
That's right.
There's an opportunity. So what's going to happen is your institutional investors, your accredited investors, they're going to swipe in. They're going to buy up as many businesses as they can.
That's right.
And then they're going to flip them.
That's right.
So we have to think about how normal, everyday people are able to step in and take advantage of these opportunities, which is a good segue into a conversation that no one likes to have. Because when you're coming from a low income situation, I grew up in a single family home. I grew up in a low income situation. When you come from that, you never believe that you will be able to buy a business.
This is so true.
Never believe that you will be able to invest or do all of these things that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that, I would segue into is this conversation of legacy creation. And making sure that we're positioned to leave a legacy. Mm-hmm. Life insurance is not a popular conversation.
Right.
It's not a popular conversation because it's not sexy, it's not fast, and it doesn't make me feel like I'm doing anything until I die.
Right.
However, there's 151,000 people who are dying every hour. Mm-hmm. And if you think about it, if every time somebody passes away, they're leaving $1 million or $500,000 or $250,000. And it's inside of a trust that says you can only use this money to flip businesses.
Right.
You can only use this money to buy a business. You can only use this money to invest in real estate, get a college degree, whatever it may be. Then we start to close the wealth gap. Because if every time somebody passes away, $1 million is exchanging hands, now you've added value to your life in a different way.
That is so true.
And so for those people who are listening, who are thinking, I don't have the credit to leverage. I don't have this, I don't have this. Don't take me the wrong way when I say this, because this is not going to come across sounding good. But this is the reality of what we're in the middle of. We're in the middle of the biggest wealth transfer in the history of this nation. Baby boomers, yes, transitioning wealth to the next heirs. The baby boomer generation is the wealthiest generation in U.S. history. Mm-hmm. Some people call it the $60 trillion wealth transfer. Some people call it the $50 trillion wealth transfer. Some call it the $30 trillion wealth transfer. Understanding who the baby boomers are in your family right now, what is the plan to transition their assets?
That's right.
And if they don't have assets, are we pooling our monies together to do large life insurance inheritance contracts,
right,
that are connected to a trust that will provide the funds to do all of these amazing things that we're talking about?
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to do that segue because it is not a sexy conversation. It is not something we're going to line up down the street to do. But if you're wondering how to get your hands on $250,000, $500,000, or $1 million, you have to understand that your life, some of us are more valuable. This sounds horrible, but we got to be honest. Some of
Right.
us will ultimately be more valuable in death than we
True.
were in life.
True.
That sounds horrible.
But that's the reality.
But it's the reality of how wealth was created in this country. Inheritance,
Mhm.
estates. And that belongs to each and every single one of us if we choose to embrace the process.
Absolutely.